Welcome to the Fountain Studio, and just a quick reminder of an easy way that you can support the studio and help the Fountains keep creating the kind of content that you love. It's called Buy Me a Coffee, and it's a great way for you to show your appreciation in the moment. How does it work? It's simple. Look for the Buy Me a Coffee link in this video's description page below and click on it. Once you're on the Fountain's Buy Me a Coffee page, you'll see an option to buy me a coffee, or 3. Each coffee is a simple one-time donation of $5. If you want to, there's even a place to leave a message. To wrap things up, just follow the quick and secure steps to complete your purchase, and voila, you've bought me a coffee. Your support makes a huge difference and helps make it possible for the Fountains to continue to create the kind of content that you have come to count on. Every coffee bought goes directly to covering the costs of producing the studio and helping the Fountains put love first in the world. So, even if you already give regularly, Buy Me a Coffee is a quick and easy way to say, hey, I love that. Thank you so much for being an important part of this journey. We're glad you're here. Cheers.
Join us as we get in the spirit. In the midst of meaninglessness,
the Spirit calls us to create meaning.
in the midst of divisiveness,
The Spirit calls us to forge community.
out of our brokenness,
We are called to wholeness and humility.
as followers of Jesus,
We seek the common good,
and with determination and hope,
establish justice in the world.
God has chosen me, God has chosen me to bring good news to the poor. God has chosen me, God has chosen me to bring new sight to those searching for light. God has chosen me, and to tell the world that God's kingdom is near, to remove oppression and break down fear. Yes, God's time is near, God's time is near, God's time is near, God's time is near. God has chosen me, God has chosen me to set alight a new fire. God has chosen me, God has chosen me to bring God's time is near. God's time is near. God's time is near. God's time is near. God is calling me. God is calling me. And all whose cry is unheard. God is calling me. God is calling me to raise up the voice with no power or choice. God is calling me, and to tell the world that God's kingdom is near, to remove oppression and break down fear. Yes, God's time is near. God's time is near. God's time is near. God's time is near.
Let's affirm the Fountain's mission together.
As followers of Jesus,
We put love first.
Standing before the one who is all the world, can it be that I matter? Can it be that such a small thing as me has a place in such a grand scheme? And yet it is so. I am empty of permanence. I don't endure. My days are limited and too few to fulfill the desires of my heart. I am so small and temporary, and yet so important. This pile of dust speaks. This bag of skin thinks. This frail body acts and makes a difference. I am the only me that has ever been. I am shaken by the knowledge that I never existed before and will not again. The source rebirths, but never repeats. Infinite possibility demands infinite diversity. Whatever I must do here and now. Whatever gift I am to give, I must give it here and now. Whatever purpose I am to fulfill, I must fulfill it here and now. I am what I am here and now. I am what I do with who I am.
Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me, Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me.
Compassionate one, how easy it is to forget that compared to the rest of the world, most of us live in colossal opulence. How easy it is to turn away from portrayals of a world in which so many of your children exist in abject destitution.
Giver of grace, break our hearts with that which breaks your own heart. Plow the hard and unplowed ground of our souls with the persistent prodding of the Christ Spirit, that each of us might be convinced that our lives are best lived for the benefit of all those who hunger and thirst.
May we be empowered to be so confident in Jesus' vision that we will not hesitate to act for justice, to offer refreshing waters to those who suffer, and work for liberty to those held captive by the ordinary injustices the world tolerates.
May we be reminded of Jesus' call to welcome, feed, and clothe the least of these among us, and know deep in our bones the conviction, the assurance, and the grace that strengthens us along the way. This is our prayer.
We offer this time of quiet openness, bringing our whole selves as we join together in saying a contemporary version of the prayer that Jesus taught his first followers. Loving Spirit, you love us like a good parent and are present in every aspect of our existence. May your nature become known and respected by all. May your joy, peace, wholeness, and justice be the reality for everyone as we live by the Jesus way. Give us all that we really need to live every day for you. And forgive us our failures as we forgive others for their failures. Keep us from doing those things which are not of you, and cause us always to be centered on your love. For you are the true reality in this our now and in all our future. In the Jesus way we pray. Amen.
Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me. Melt me, mold me, fill me, use me, Spirit of the living God, fall afresh on me.
What is SAWS about? SAWS, we build ramps for people. We have built 14 ramps just this year for individuals. It's more than just constructing ramps. It's making a life different for people that need the ramps.
Probably the most satisfying part is in the end, after you build a ramp and you see the family, you see the recipient coming down that ramp with tears in their eyes. It brings tears to your eyes. You feel like you've actually accomplished something beyond yourself, and that's a spiritual reward.
We need donations. Everything works on a donation factor. The people pay nothing for the ramps that we build. Now there's two different ways that you can donate. One of them is by check or cash, but if you're doing something through the fountains, it should be to SAWS Southwest.
The important thing is that we do seek donations because our ramps range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 depending on the length of the ramp and the design that we have to put together. So I would support people donating X number of feet of ramp if they want to, and make that a monthly donation. That would be excellent.
It means the whole world to me. Now I can get off my porch. And you all did such a great job, and I deeply appreciate it, and I cannot thank you enough.
I have struggled so badly with trying to climb stairs for the last 8 months. and it's been very painful. And I just want to say thank you for everything.
You're welcome.
Thank you for writing that check as you listen to us expound on the joy of working on these ramps.
Every day, the Fountains strive to put love first, both in person and online.
And if you're one of our many regular online viewers, we're grateful for your participation as a digital member.
Every week, you hear about all the many ways you can give electronically to support this online outreach, like using the QR code on the screen, going to give.weputlovefirst.org, or downloading the Vanco mobile app. Then when you're on our secure giving site, be sure to look for the line that says Studio Celebration Donation.
A contribution here lets us know you're out there, that the studio is important to you, and that you want to be a part of supporting this growing digital outreach.
So wherever and whenever you're watching, we're glad you're joining us.
Thanks in advance for supporting the studio financially.
because of what the Lord has done for us. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks to the Holy One. Give thanks because God's given Jesus Christ, the Son. Give thanks.
The episode depicted in today's passage is one of several justice scenes crowded into Jesus' final discourses in Matthew. Right before this scene, the scribes and Pharisees are denounced for their rejection of the Messiah and are threatened with ultimate punishment. Then, right after this judgment text, come examples of the faithful and unfaithful servants and the parable of the talents. In both cases, those who break faith with their trusts are punished when the master returns to judge their stewardship. So, today's passage illustrates the consequences of one's faithfulness to the expectation of service. And the determining factor is the degree to which one cares for the least of these. Any and all who suffer the hardships listed here by the text, hunger, thirst, nakedness, sickness, homelessness, imprisonment. It's not just belief that matters, but action. An action on behalf of and with those the culture ignores or leaves behind.
Our words of wisdom are from Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 through 40.
When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, then he will sit on his glorious throne. Before him will be gathered all the nations, and he will separate people from one another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will place the sheep on his right, but the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right,
Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.
Then the righteous will answer him, saying, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?
And the king will answer them, Truly, I say to you, as you did it to one of the least of these, my sisters and brothers, you did it to me.
Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church.
Thanks be to God.
James McCutcheon tells a story about an incident that happened during the 30s in New York. It was one of the coldest days of the year. The world was in the grip of the Great Depression, and all over the city, the poor were close to starvation. It happened that the judge was sitting on the bench that day hearing a complaint against a woman who was charged with stealing a loaf of bread. She pleaded that her daughter was sick and her grandchildren were starving because their father had abandoned the family. But the shopkeeper, whose loaf had been stolen, refused to drop the charge. He insisted that an example be made of the poor old woman as a deterrent to others. The judge sighed. He was most reluctant to pass judgment on the woman, yet he had no alternative. I'm sorry, he turned to her, but I can't make any exceptions. The law is the law. I sentence you to a fine of $10, And if you can't pay, I must send you to jail for 10 days. The woman was heartbroken, but even as he was passing sentence, the judge was reaching into his pocket for the money to pay off the $10 fine. He reached for his hat, tossed the $10 bill into it, and then addressed the crowd. I'm also going to impose a fine of 50 cents on every person here present in this courtroom for living in a town where a person has to steal bread to save her grandchildren from starvation. Please collect the fine, Mr. Bailiff, in this hat, and pass them across to the defendant. And so the accused went home that day from the courtroom with $47.50, 50 cents of which had been paid by the shamefaced grocery store keeper who had brought the charge against her. And as she left the courtroom, the gathering of petty criminals and New York policemen gave the judge a standing ovation. Friends, we have a problem. It spans our whole world, is present in every culture, and emanates from within each and every one of us. And that is, we have let the idea of justice be defined as revenge. Watch or read any story about a murder or other crime, and the victims and the legal representatives will claim that they will have justice, when what they really mean is that they'll have revenge. Our failure to understand what justice is and what it is not is at the root of a lot of our biggest challenges as the human race. John Dominic Crossan says, "Let me be very clear about what justice means in the Bible. When it talks of a God as a God of justice and righteousness, what we are talking about is two basic distinctions. First of all, there's personal, individual justice. That's, I don't cheat you, I don't defraud you. It's personal and individual between two people. But then there's also another type of justice, systemic and structural justice. And often people find it hard to make the distinction. People don't see that the system can be just or unjust. As Dom says, systemic injustice is the line item in a budget that guarantees that 500,000 kids will be hurt 6 months from now, and sort of nobody did it. It just sort of happened. We say, isn't that a shame? And do what we can to help the kids who are hurt, but never ask the question, how is it that we have a system that lets this happen? What does it say about what our priorities are? In his book, The Lure of Saints, John Sweeney tells a story about a clergy friend who had a problem with the ministry of Mother Teresa. He said, imagine that you are living alongside a river and babies in baskets are continually floating by. They're abandoned, they're sick, hungry, needy. You would try and care for the babies, wouldn't you? But wouldn't you also stop and say, where are all these babies coming from? How did they get here? Social services, government agencies, religious groups, and saints are all adept at finding babies, plucking them from the water, and helping them become well. But these same organizations and saints like Mother Teresa are not always focused enough on the bigger question, finding out who is putting all these babies in the river. Sweeney says, Mother Teresa was clearly a woman of action, but her efforts were almost entirely focused on compassionate response, not on attempting to slow or stop what was causing the enormous need. Much in her life is worthy of imitation, but we should also imitate those who perhaps do not possess the popular notion of sanctity, but work hard to stop the politics, structures, policies, and institutions that make chronic hunger and disease possible. One of the reasons Mother Teresa was able to be sainted was that she managed to appear to be free of all political entanglements, and her advocates were able to obscure some of her less than savory political connections. Others, who will be a lot harder to be sainted, have focused entirely on some of the bigger picture, committing themselves to peace, nonviolence, mediation, and justice for both the earth and all people and creatures. In fact, when Pope Francis spoke to the U.S. Congress back in 2015, he mentioned several of them, Dorothy Day and Thomas Merton, which got a lot of pushback. Our own Arizona representative, the objectively unhappy and chronically angry Paul Gosar, blustered, "It's not the Pope's role to come to America and lobby for liberal policy priorities." And the shocking liberal priority that Dorothy Day advocated for? The just treatment of the poor. Shocking, I know. And she was not some sweet grandmotherly figure either. She was a firebrand who got in people's faces and made demands. And for her efforts, she was condemned, both then and now, by guess who? By those who have a stake in the status quo of the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer. Dorothy Day's life experience was the same as Brazilian Archbishop Dom Helder Câmara, who said, "When I give food to the poor, they call me a saint. When I ask why the poor have no food, they call me a communist." Being fair by the widow and the orphan and the immigrant, caring for the least, the last, and the lost, in other words, doing justice, is a central pillar in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Buddhists, Hindus, and practitioners of every world religion emphasize right relationships within communities as building blocks of peace. Justice is not revenge. Justice means dealing fairly with others, recognizing the equality and dignity of all. It requires that we work to ensure that all people, especially the poor and the weak, have access to opportunities. Justice assumes, with Solomon Burke, the king of rock and soul,
Well, you better listen, my sisters and brothers, 'cause if you do, you can hear there are voices still calling across the years, and they're all crying across the ocean, and they're crying across the land, and they will till we all come to understand. None of us are free. None of us are free. None of us are free. One of us are chained. None of us are free.
Women still face threats of violence and lower earnings because of their gender. People with disabilities, racial minorities, Native Americans, immigrants, transgender people, all confront their own struggles for acceptance every day. When you start putting together the numbers of people, predominantly women, who are trapped in the sex trafficking industry, there are literally more people in slavery today than at the height of institutional slavery in the American South before the Civil War. Sister Joan Chittister says, a progressive Christianity that emphasizes contemplation, social action, and justice is the way of the future. She writes, "We live in a world where information is toppling the old pyramids of inherited power. Institutions and hierarchies have failed to solve society's problems, and people are beginning to rise up together, be it the women's movement and the peace movement, the ethnic identity movement, or the Save the Whales movement, all to do it themselves. The question is, who will help the people at the foot of the mountain, those made helpless by the system? We must be for the poor, not simply a handout, but a voice on their behalf, where the poor are not heard and their pain is not registered. We must be aware, not simply of the pain, but of why the hurting hurts. And then we must set out not simply to comfort or care for them, but to do something to cure the causes as well as the symptoms. Franciscan priest Father Richard Rohr says, "We are surrounded by good, well-meaning folks who are swept along in a stream of shallow options. We've confused justice and charity. Charity was always considered the highest virtue and was popularly thought of as a kind of magnanimous and voluntary giving of ourselves, preferably for selfless motives. The question then becomes, is this really virtue at all, or actually an avoidance of what the divine expects of us? What has been lacking is the virtue of justice. For centuries, we have been content to patch up holes temporarily, making ourselves feel benevolent, while in fact maintaining the legal and institutional structures that created the holes, making those at the bottom feel like victims. Questions of justice will always be subversive and countercultural to those who are enjoying the fruits of the system as it is. The teachings of Jesus have put us on a collision course with the world that needs to divide us into those with the power and those without it. We cannot hate, compete, compare, or dominate one another and still expect God's vision to unfold. Perhaps none has expressed it better than Cardinal Jaime Sin of Manila. To an American audience, he once said, "Strength without compassion is violence. Compassion without justice is weakness. Justice without love is totalitarianism. And charity without justice is baloney." Or as John Bell said when he was here at the Fountains, "Justice is not a fancy word which we can slip in and out of prayers harmlessly. God's justice affects the fabric of this world and the integrity of its people." Integrity, that's what it's about. Living out in our daily lives what we've been convinced of by our faith is just and right. We've just wrapped up a pretty dramatic World Series, and perhaps there's no place where questions of what is just and right get played out more publicly than in professional sports. In 2013's biopic of Jackie Robinson, 42, Brooklyn Dodgers owner Branch Rickey is determined to hire a black player and break baseball's staunch color line. When one of his colleagues objects and says, "Robinson's just a troublemaker," Rickey replies,
"Robinson's a Methodist. I'm a Methodist. God's a Methodist. We can't go wrong. Find him. Bring him here."
And even more satisfying than that clip is this particular interchange, which is essentially an update of our judgment passage today. Are you going to be a sheep or a goat?
Branch, it's Herb.
Hello, Herb. What can I do for you?
Branch, how long have we known each other?
Oh, 20 years, maybe more.
Now, I'm afraid that we're not going to be able to take the field against your team if that boy's in uniform.
Why is that, Herb? His name is Jackie Robinson, by the way.
Yeah, Branch, I understand he's got a name, but we're just not ready for that sort of thing here in Philadelphia.
Well, what you do with your team is your decision, Herb. But my team's going to be in Philadelphia tomorrow with Robinson. And if we have to claim the game as a forfeit, so be it. That's 9-0, in case you forgot.
You know what, Branch? You've had a hell of a hair across your ass over this for a long time, and I'd like to know what it is you think you're trying to prove.
You think God likes baseball, Herb?
What the hell is that supposed to mean?
It means someday you're going to meet God, and when he inquires as why you didn't take the field against Robinson in Philadelphia, and you answer that it's because he was a Negro, it may not be a sufficient reply.
In everything he says and does, Jesus turns society upside down and challenges his followers to widen their circle of concern to take in all human beings. That's why I want to propose to you that when one's self-interest becomes the purpose of any organizing unit, family, group, church, or nation, you name it, it does not matter what it is. It is at that moment that it begins to depart from the essence of what Jesus was on about. And that's why our 8 points include the acknowledgement that we, as progressive Christians, form ourselves into communities dedicated to equipping one another for the work we feel called to do, striving for peace and justice among all people, and bringing hope to those Jesus called the least of his sisters and brothers. As author Edward Hayes suggests, consider abstaining from apathy and cultivating a healthy diet of concern for the poor and needy, for those suffering oppression. Look for yourself. Jesus spends his whole ministry gathering together every type of wrong person, every type of person who is marginalized, and every person who is excluded by the prevailing standards of conventional society.
I was passing a sandlot. Little white boy was up at bat. You know what he was doing?
Sitting on a fastball?
He was pretending he was you.
Why'd you do this, Mr. Ricky?
We had a victory over fascism in Germany.
No. Why? Why'd you do it?
I love baseball. Given my whole life to it. 40-odd years ago, I was a player coach at Ohio Wesleyan University. We had a Negro catcher, best hitter on the team. Saw him laid low, broken, because of the color of his skin, and I didn't do enough to help. Told myself I did, but I didn't. There was something unfair at the heart of the game I loved, and I ignored it. But a time came when I could no longer do that.
Friends, there's something unfair at the heart of this world I love. What about your world? It's on vivid display every day, wherever you look. In light of that reality, only one question remains. Are you prepared to do something about it? Are you prepared to put yourself in a position of being criticized by respectable society, by pious religious zealots, or the purveyors of the status quo, all for the benefit of the least of these? No matter how you slice it, that is the heart of Jesus' message. And our purpose as a community of progressive Christians is not to believe a bunch of stuff about Jesus, but to equip one another for doing the work of Jesus, of making compassion real in the world, of striving for peace and justice, and bringing hope to the least of these, our brothers and sisters. Be well. Don't forget, if you liked what you heard today, buy me a coffee. The link's in the description.
Will you come and follow me if I but call your name? Will you go where you don't know and never be the same? Will you let my love be shown? Will you let my name be known? Will you let my life be grown in you in me? Will you leave yourself behind if I but call your name? Will you care for cool and kind and never be the same? Will you risk the hostile stare? Should your life attract or scare? Will you let me answer prayer in you and you in me? Will you let the blinded see if I but call your name? Will you set the prisoner free and never be the same? Will you kiss the leper clean and do such as this unseen and admit to what I mean in you and you in me? Will you love the you hide if I but call your name? Will you quell the fear inside and never be the same? Will you use the faith you found to reshape the world around through my sight and touch and sound in you and you in me? Lord, your summons echoes true when you but call my name. Let me turn and follow you and never be the same. In your company I'll go where your love and footsteps show. Thus I'll move and live and grow in you and you in me.
Let us offer these words of challenge and blessing to one another as we go. There is a transforming power at work among us.
empowering us to speak and to act.
May we be moved by the plight of the least, the last, and the lost.
And go forth as witnesses to God's grace. Amen.
Amen.